Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL. And today it is time to make what was it? It was a pattern number 37635 over on friendshipbracelets.net. And this is the one where it's like the two sides. You see the first one started out with the dark one at the top, and this one starts out with the light one at the top, and it's sort of the whole thing stays a little bit off balance, which was a little bit weird and a little bit something to have to keep an eye on as far as like looking at the pattern as I went along. But that said, it went along really, really quickly. I have to say this kind of surprised me a bit. I mean, I kind of knew that it wasn't terrible. However, I was a little bit shocked at like how quickly it went along. It really reminds me of I don't know if you remember the other one where it had like little spiky things coming out. Like I did like it was a blindsided creation. I don't remember what the number was. But then I went on to make like three more variants on it, and it does remind me a lot of that, possibly because the little spiky bits that kind of come up on parts of this. But the row that does this sort of see, I think it looks like gears. So when I talk about it, I guess I'm going to refer to it. The part that looks like a gear, kind of a little bit slows it down, but I mean, you're taking care of like three rows at once, and then you have like straight rows and stuff and diamonds and stuff after that. So that's not too terrible. Yeah, I mean, that was this row here. This is where like it looks like a gear to me. Um, Definitely felt like that was the part that kind of slows it down the most. But it wasn't too terrible. And I have to say that when I look at this, right, I keep thinking to myself, this would probably look really cool as a double wide, and possibly maybe modding it a bit to really kind of go like harder on the whole idea that these are like gears. So I'm not sure. I kind of feel like this is going to become a thing. I think I'm going to retry this pattern. So this is 12 strings. I think I'll do it with a 24 just to see kind of what I can do to it and see what I can make happen. So yeah, something to look forward to. I'm not sure when I'll get around to it. Obviously I got a lot of plans and things going on here. So, but yeah, when I run out of ideas, this is something I think I'm going to come back to. So, um, color wise, it is a brown and a fluorescent yellow. And I'm pretty sure in the video you can't kind of make out the yellow is so super crazy vibrant. But it is. It's really it's one of those colors that's just the camera just like doesn't know what to do with. So yeah. Um, as far as like difficulty, I'm gonna say that this is not terrible. You do have to look at the pattern frequently. You do have to make sure, like that brown, for example, it came to the edge and bounces back. Um, the yellow doesn't. So like there's certain like inconsistent things like that that sort of make it a little bit more something you have to pay attention to. And you can see like there was two browns on the left hand side and there are two yellows on the right hand side at the edges. And that's again one of those things that like it's just a little bit weird. It's just a little bit off and it just makes it a little bit more something to have to keep track of. So, um, let's see, what else can I tell you? It was so the pattern itself repeats quite a number of times. Like if we just counted the gear type thing that's on the right hand side, it's one, two, three, four. There's four of them. At some point, I didn't want to move the PDF that I had because I use the same PDF that I share with you guys from over on my website. and I didn't want to move it and lose track of where I was, but I had no idea where in the whole scheme of things I was. And that was a little bit of a kind of grinding me a little bit. Um, but I mean, because it's so repetitive, right? This is one of those ones like some of the harder ones where it doesn't do the pattern a number of times feels like it goes super fast. This one, which was actually going super fast, felt like it was going longer. Like, come on, I just did that. How many more of those do I have to do? It's a weird thing. I don't, it could be just me. I don't know. But it felt like it was taking a while. And then about that point, I think I was down here. I don't know if you can see that, but I was a ways down and pleasantly surprised when I only had like one more of the repetition to do. So that was cool. Um, do, 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 do. Yeah, there's not a lot I can really tell you about this. It is an intermediate. You know, this is not something I would recommend for a beginner to start out with. Um, it's it's definitely going to be fun to do a double or more. I definitely think like if you guys want to try to beat me to it, I wouldn't blame you. Go grab my pattern and then figure out like which how you want to build on that because I really think that there's something that could be really cool about that. Um, yeah, you can see like I really did try again, like always. I tried to kind of go through it the most systematic way possible. Um, and that really is, you know, trying to get like do the long straight rows, do the that little zigzaggy part that, you know, kind of nailed that all at once as opposed to just doing one row at a time. Um, like I said, I really did try to make this go by as quickly as possible and try to find the easiest way of kind of um, segmenting it and stuff. So, oh, and then like this part here with the brown, you might have noticed I suddenly shifted from that yellow onwards. So the guideline is that brown comes down and that yellow piece comes straight out, right? So you can kind of see where like the cutoff is. And so I use that a lot. Instead of counting my knots, I use the visuals because see this yellow and how it had that little nub? That same path continues straight on down. Oh, I just noticed there. I changed the direction of that yellow because that one, for some odd reason, the string that I got from the company or whatever, one of the skeins, because I used two skeins of yellow, right? One of the skeins was much shorter than the other one, and so I was concerned about that yellow's length, and so I traded the short one for a longer one because that row is much longer or whatever. If the strings had all been uniform and the same and everything, I don't think there would have been any problem with this pattern, but I did have some shorter ones to work with, and it did cause me to actually have to change the direction and stuff right there. So yeah, I mean, again, I cut my strings long so I don't have trouble. I only reason I technically had trouble this time was I even what like before making the kumi, but everything else, I knew that those strings were much shorter. Um, I decided it didn't seem worth skipping it. Like I figured it was less than a third, but more than maybe a quarter of a skein, which is like what 2 meters. So, but I had no real way at that point of actually like figure. Well, I say I had no way. I could have measured it, I guess. I could have, but I didn't. I just figured I'd wing it. I figured the pattern didn't seem like it was that bad, and that because I could change strings, I would just went ahead with it anyways. So, and to my luck, it worked out. So it's kind of nice to know that you can do that, and like, just kind of keep that in mind when you're working on something like this, that if you have long straight rows and that string is too short, trade it. It just, you know, makes it a whole lot easier than running out of string for sure. Let's see. Yeah, I think I only did it once in the whole of the bracelet, to be honest. There were times a little bit later on in here where I kind of considered it, but then, and again, this is why I kind of wanted to know where I was on the bracelet. Am I getting close to the end? As the strings are getting shorter, I, obviously start getting this little worry thing goes on in the back of my head, like, oh no, am I going to run out of string? What's going on here? So, yeah, that's kind of why partially too, I like to kind of know where I am in a design. So, yeah. Yeah, it's really pretty. And I really think this is, one of those kind of bracelets that's going to be like really striking on your wrist. Like it's got a really fun sort of design to it. It's kind of not tribal. It's kind of way more like modern impressionism kind of thing, I guess. Because it does kind of look more like gears, where like certain traditional ones will have like a, I don't know, like something different about those designs. But this just, I don't, it's just a very cool look to me. I think I really like it. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Like, what do you think? Do you think I should go ahead and do the hurry up and make the double wide of this? Because you know, I do respond to the comments. I do listen to you guys, and when you guys say, yeah, make a thing, it does encourage me a lot. So yeah. So trying to figure out where I am on it now. This is probably the last of the left diamonds, I think. Like down here. So yeah, we're getting kind of close towards the end. Reminds me, I need to thank my Patreon supporters for making this possible. The expenses of making tutorials are not atrocious, but I mean, they are expenses. So, yeah, I need the help to be able to make all this stuff happen, and they do that for me. So, thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, that's awesome. If you guys want to join the Patreon, it's patreon.com / AKA AWOL. So, yeah, this is definitely getting towards the end there. It's kind of funny how like the gear thing is sort of like like at this point here, it looks like we're building a thing that goes to the left hand side, but that is also part of the thing that is getting formed that will be on the right hand side. And I think that's part of what makes this like kind of plays with your brain a little bit, like, wait, which part of this is on what? And I'm not sure like if I would change up a lot if I do this in a double wide. I do think I would try to eliminate this problem where the colors are kind of offset and you have to do the things in the corners. If I was to try to do anything different, that would be the big thing that I would probably try to work out. So I don't know if it can happen. Like I didn't intend for it to be this way on here, but it seems to be like the only way to make it work. So because yeah, the other version, the other one where I made multiples of, that was so much easier. So much easier. Yeah, see, I put that yellow string off to the side because that is done. That string doesn't get picked up and used other than to braid off the tassels at the very, very end. So, yeah, we are very close to the end now, guys. So, yeah, thanks for hanging around this long. It really does help the channel. The watch hours do mean a lot to me as well as apparently YouTube. So, really do appreciate that. Um, yeah, and I look forward to making some more videos. This is oh, there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming out here, guys. I'm really excited about some of the things that I have planned. So, yep. So, yeah, here comes the big reveal. So, as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.